The moment my sister called me just a vessel, something inside me shattered, but I didn't let her see it. Instead, I watched her perfectly manicured fingers slide the check across the hospital cafeteria table, her wedding ring catching the fluorescent light like a warning signal I should have heeded months ago. My name is Hadley, and 48 hours ago I gave birth to my nephew. My body is still aching, my hormones are raging, and the baby I carried for 9 months is somewhere upstairs in the maternity ward with the woman who's about to break my heart. This is the agreed upon compensation, plus a generous bonus, Rachel said, her voice clipped and professional, so different from the tearful pleading of a year ago. Once you sign the final paperwork, we can all move forward. I stared at the check, remembering how this started. Rachel at my door, mascara streaking her cheeks, clutching yet another negative pregnancy test. You're my only hope, she'd sobbed. Please, Hadley. You're my sister. Help me have a baby. The paperwork's already signed, I said quietly, pushing the check back. I didn't do this for money. Rachel's perfectly plucked eyebrows drew together. Don't make this complicated. You knew the arrangement from the start. Arrangement? My voice cracked. I'm family. I carried your son for 9 months. I felt every kick, every hiccup. That's exactly why we need clear boundaries, she cut in. Julio and I have discussed this extensively. It's healthier for everyone if you maintain your distance. The cafeteria buzzed around us, oblivious to my world imploding. A nurse dropped her fork. The clatter made me jump. Distance? I echoed. Rachel, you can't be serious. We talked about me being part of his life. You said, I said what I needed to say to get what I wanted. Rachel stood, smoothing her designer dress. You were just the vessel, Hadley. We don't want any confusion for our son. My hands began to shake. Our son? You mean the baby I carried? The one I sang to every night? The one who knows my voice? Don't be dramatic. Rachel's voice turned to ice. This is exactly why we need separation. You're obviously too emotionally attached. Of course I'm attached. Several heads turned our way. I lowered my voice. I'm his aunt. I'm your sister. And now you're neither. She pulled out her phone, probably texting Julio. The check will clear immediately. I suggest you use it to start fresh. Maybe move somewhere new. I thought about the contract in my lawyer's office, about the clause Rachel had skimmed over, too eager to get to the signatures, about Seth's knowing look when he'd slipped in that single, crucial paragraph. You can't erase me, I said softly. Rachel's laugh was cruel. Watch me. She gathered her purse, that massive designer thing that probably cost more than my monthly rent. The nurses have been instructed. You're not on the approved visitor list. Don't make a scene. She turned to leave, but I caught her wrist. Remember when we were kids, when Dad died? You promised we'd always have each other's backs. Something flickered in her eyes. Guilt, maybe? But it vanished instantly. She yanked her arm away. Grow up, Hadley. This isn't some childhood pact. This is my life, my family, my son. She straightened her spine, looking down at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. You were just the vessel, nothing more. I watched her walk away, her heels clicking on the linoleum floor. The check sat between us like a ransom note. My hands stopped shaking as a strange calm settled over me. You have no clue what's coming, I whispered to her retreating back. My phone buzzed. A text from Ava. How did it go? I picked up the check, took a photo, and sent it to her. Then I typed, she did exactly what we expected. Call Seth. It's time. Upstairs, a baby was crying. My nephew, I knew it in my bones. The same cry I'd felt from the inside for months. Rachel thought she could buy my silence, erase 9 months of connection with a single check. But my sister forgot something crucial about me. I learned from the best. She taught me how to play the long game, how to smile while plotting, how to wait for the perfect moment to strike. I pulled out the business card Seth had given me months ago. My fingers traced the embossed letters of his law firm's name as I remembered his words. This clause is a nuclear option, Hadley. Once we trigger it, there's no going back. Good, I thought, reaching for my phone, because Rachel had no idea what she'd just started, and I was done playing the good sister. You're absolutely insane, Seth had said 6 months ago, leaning back in his office chair. You want me to hide a custody clause in a surrogacy contract? I remember the way his office smelled of coffee and leather, how the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across his desk. Not custody, I'd corrected. Parental presence. There's a difference. Hadley. He'd pinched the bridge of his nose. This is your sister we're talking about. Exactly. I'd pulled out my phone, showing him the text from Rachel, the manipulation, the guilt trips, the constant reminders of our dead father and what he would have wanted. Look at these messages. Tell me this is normal sister behavior. Seth scrolled through them, his frown deepening. Jesus, she's really working you, isn't she? She's always been like this, getting what she wants, then discarding people. I'd leaned forward. I want to help her have a baby. I do, but I need insurance. Now, sitting in Seth's office again, I watched him dial Rachel's number on speakerphone. My heart hammered as it rang. Rachel Steele speaking. Her voice chirped, all professional sweetness. Mrs. Steele, this is Seth Phillips. I'm calling regarding the surrogacy agreement between you and your sister. A pause. That matter is concluded. If Hadley has concerns... Section 7, paragraph C. Seth interrupted. The parental presence clause. I'm formally notifying you that my client is invoking her rights under this provision. The silence that followed was deafening. What clause? Rachel's voice had lost its sugarcoating. There was no such... Page 12, Seth said calmly. The paragraph you initialed regarding maintaining biological maternal connection in the child's best interest. It grants Hadley legally protected visitation rights and a permanent role in the child's life. That's impossible. I never Papers rustled on her end. Then, you tricked me. You signed it, I spoke up. Just like you signed the check calling me just a vessel. Hadley? Rachel's voice turned venomous. You sneaky little... A process server will deliver the formal documentation this afternoon, Seth cut in. I suggest you review it with your lawyer. The line went dead. Well, Seth said, closing his laptop, that went about as expected. My phone immediately lit up with text from Rachel. How dare you? You manipulative bitch. You'll never see him. I'll fight this. I showed them to Seth. He shrugged. Let her rage. The clause is ironclad. I made sure of it. She'll try to paint me as unstable, I said. She's probably already calling Mom. Right on cue, my phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer, Seth advised. Not until we filed everything. I stared at the phone until it stopped ringing. She'll side with Rachel, she always does. That's why we documented everything. Seth pulled out a thick folder. The emotional manipulation. The illegal attempts to add non-disclosure agreements after the birth. The check meant to buy you off. He tapped the folder. Your sister's perfect image is about to take a very public hit. You warned me this would be war, I said quietly. And you said you'd sharpen your blade. He met my eyes. Are you ready for this? My phone buzzed again. A text from Julio. Please, let's talk about this reasonably. Name your price. I showed it to Seth. He whistled. They're scared. They should be. I stood up, gathering my things. How long until the server reaches their house? Seth checked his watch. Any minute now. Good. I headed for the door, then paused. Seth, thank you. For everything. Hey, I owed you for getting me through law school. He smiled. Besides, someone needs to teach your sister that karma's a bitch. I was halfway home when Ava called. Rachel just posted on Instagram, she said without preamble, some long rant about toxic family members and protecting her child from unstable influences. Right on schedule, I said, unsurprised. Wait for it. 3 minutes later, Ava called back. Holy shit! She just got served. She's live streaming her meltdown. I pulled into my driveway just as my phone exploded with notifications. Rachel's perfect facade was cracking in real time, broadcast to her thousands of followers. You think you've won? Rachel's final text read, "This is just the beginning." I smiled, thinking of the baby boy upstairs in her house, the one who knew my heartbeat, who kicked to the sound of my voice, who was about to learn that some bonds can't be broken by money or manipulation. No, sister, I whispered, typing my response. This is just the end of your control and the beginning of my justice. Then I blocked her number and called Seth. Phase 1 complete. Let's move to Phase 2. Your sister's having a complete meltdown on social media, Ava said, scrolling through her phone. We were sitting in my kitchen, watching Rachel's carefully curated world implode in real time. Look at this. She's already lost 3 sponsorship deals for her lifestyle blog. I sipped my coffee, remembering how Rachel used to mock my ordinary life while she built her influencer empire. What's she saying? That you're unstable, obsessed, trying to steal her baby. Ava paused. Oh, and apparently you've been jealous of her perfect life since childhood. A knock at the door made us both jump. I opened it to find Julio standing there, looking exhausted in his rumpled designer suit. Can we talk? He asked. Privately? Ava squeezed my shoulder as she left. Call me if you need anything. I let Julio in, watching him pace my small living room. Rachel's not sleeping, he said. She's paranoid, checking the contract every hour, calling lawyers. Sounds stressful, I said flatly. Almost as stressful as being called just a vessel after carrying your child for 9 months. He pulled out his checkbook. Name your price. Double what we offered. Triple. You can't buy motherhood out of me, Julio. You're not his mother. He slammed his hand on my coffee table. Rachel is his mother. You are just a vessel, I finished. Funny how you both keep using that word. I pulled out my phone, playing the video I'd secretly recorded in the hospital cafeteria. Rachel's cold voice filled the room. You were just the vessel, Hadley. Julio's face paled. Where did you get that? The same place I got everything else documented. Every manipulative text, every threat, every attempt to buy me off. I leaned forward. How do you think Rachel's followers would react to seeing the side of their perfect lifestyle guru? You wouldn't. Try me. My phone buzzed. An email from Seth. I opened it to find a link to a local news website. The headline read, Sister Surrogacy Scandal. Local influencer accused of emotional manipulation. It's already starting, I showed Julio the article, and this is just the beginning. He sank onto my couch, head in his hands. Our investors are getting nervous. The company's stock dropped this morning. That sounds like a you problem. Please, he looked up. Rachel's not well. She's been through so much with the infertility. And I haven't? I cut him off. I gave her everything she wanted. My body, my time, my health. I just wanted to be part of his life. You can be. He stood up. We'll set up visits, scheduled times. No. I want what's in the contract. Legal recognition. Protected rights. I walked to the door. Now get out of my house. After he left, I called Ava back. How's it looking? Rachel's losing it, she said. She just posted this long rant about how you tricked her into signing the contract. Her followers are turning on her. Apparently they don't like someone who tries to erase their own sister. My phone beeped with another call. My mother. I should take this, I told Ava. Wish me luck. Hadley Jordan, Mom's voice was sharp. What have you done? Hi, Mom. Nice to hear from you too. Rachel is devastated. Her career is in jeopardy. How could you do this to your own sister? I laughed bitterly. Funny, You weren't this concerned when she was manipulating me into being her surrogate. She's been through so much. And I haven't, I was shouting now. When did I become the disposable daughter, Mom? When did Rachel's happiness become more important than my humanity? Silence. You know what? I continued. Don't answer that. Just know that I'm done being Rachel's doormat. And if you choose to support her over me again, we're done too. I hung up before she could respond. My phone immediately lit up with a text from Seth. Rachel's lawyer reached out. They want to negotiate. No, I typed back. Let them sweat. I opened Instagram where Rachel's latest post was gathering comments. Can't believe you tried to erase your own sister. Who calls their surrogate just a vessel? That's cold. Unfollowing. This is disgusting behavior. Another text from Seth. Phase 2 is ready. Just say the word. I thought about baby Oliver, probably sleeping in his nursery right now, about how Rachel planned to keep him from ever knowing the woman who carried him, sang to him, loved him before he even took his first breath. Do it, I replied to Seth. Release everything. Then I turned off my phone and poured myself a glass of wine. Tomorrow, Rachel would learn that karma doesn't just knock. Sometimes it kicks down the door. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters when I arrived. Ms. Jordan, they called out, how do you respond to your sister's claims of emotional extortion? Seth guided me through the crowd, his hand steady on my back. No comments until after the hearing. He repeated like a mantra. Inside, Rachel and Julio sat with their lawyer, both dressed in matching navy suits that probably cost more than my car. Rachel's Instagram perfect appearance had cracked. Dark circles showed through her concealer, and her hands trembled as she shuffled papers. All rise, the bailiff called as Judge Gibson entered. Your Honor, Rachel's lawyer started, we move to dismiss this claim. The surrogacy contract was signed and notarized by all parties, Judge Gibson interrupted, peering over his glasses. I've reviewed the documentation. The parental presence clause is valid. Rachel shot up from her seat. She tricked me into signing it. Mrs. Steele, the judge warned, outbursts won't help your case. I watched Rachel sink back down, her face flushed. This wasn't her carefully controlled social media world. Here, she couldn't delete comments or block users who disagreed with her. Your Honor, Seth stood, we have evidence of systematic emotional manipulation and attempts to illegally modify the agreement after birth. He projected screenshots onto the courtroom screen. Rachel's text scrolled by. Dad would have wanted this. You're my only hope. Don't you love me at all? If you really cared about family? Then came the hospital video. Rachel's cold voice filled the courtroom. You were just the vessel, Hadley. Gasps from the gallery. A reporter scribbled furiously in her notebook. Furthermore, Seth continued, Mrs. Steele attempted to add illegal non-disclosure agreements after the birth and offered substantial payments for my client to, quote, disappear. The judge turned to Rachel's lawyer. Response? Your Honor, my client was under extreme emotional distress. So was I. I couldn't help myself. I carried her child. I felt him grow. I loved him before he even had a name, and she tried to erase me like I was nothing. Ms. Jordan, the judge's voice softened slightly, control yourself. The courtroom doors opened, and my mother slipped in. She sat in the back row, her face unreadable. Your Honor, Rachel's lawyer tried again, the child's welfare is exactly why the parental presence clause exists, Seth interrupted. My client has a biological connection and a legal right to maintain it. Judge Gibson studied the papers before him. I'm denying the motion to dismiss. This case will proceed to full hearing. Rachel burst into tears, perfectly timed, perfectly dramatic. I'd seen this performance before, at my 13th birthday party, when she'd convinced our parents I'd ruined her new dress on purpose. In the meantime, the judge continued, I'm ordering temporary supervised visitation, 2 hours, twice weekly, at the Family Services Center. No, Rachel screamed. You can't let her near my baby. Mrs. Steele? Judge Gibson's gavel cracked like thunder. One more outburst and you'll be held in contempt. This court recognizes your sister's legal rights under the contract you signed. Deal with it. Outside, the reporters swarmed again. Rachel pushed past them, mascara streaming down her face, a performance that would probably be on her Instagram story within the hour. My mother caught up to me at my car. Hadley, please, stop this madness. Madness? I turned to face her. Like when Rachel ruined my college graduation by announcing her engagement during my party? Or when she told my fiancé about my miscarriage before I could? That kind of madness. She's your sister. And I'm your daughter. My voice cracked. But you never saw what she did to me. You never wanted to see. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled away. I have visitation rights now, I said quietly. I get to meet my nephew, hold him, be part of his life, and there's nothing you or Rachel can do about it. The media is calling it the sister surrogate scandal, she whispered. Our family's being torn apart. No, Mom. Rachel tore us apart years ago. I'm just finally fighting back. I got in my car, watching in the rearview mirror as my mother stood alone on the courthouse steps. My phone buzzed with a text from Ava. You won. Not yet, I replied, but soon. Another text came through, this one from Seth. Rachel's lawyer wants to discuss settlement. I thought about the baby I'd carried, who would be waiting at the Family Services Center in 2 days. About how his first smile, first word, first step wouldn't be hidden from me anymore. No settlement, I typed back. I want it all. Because Rachel had taught me one valuable lesson. When you have someone cornered, you don't let them up until they've learned their lesson. And my sister's education was just beginning. The Family Services Center smelled like disinfectant and stale coffee. I sat in the sterile visitation room, my heart pounding as I waited for them to bring Oliver. Rachel stood in the corner, arms crossed, while a social worker named Marie watched us both. Remember, 2 hours, Marie said. No fighting in front of the baby. The door opened, and Julio walked in carrying Oliver. My breath caught. He'd grown so much in the weeks since his birth. His eyes were wide open, taking in the world with that intense newborn stare. Can I? My voice trembled. Can I hold him? Julio glanced at Rachel, who turned away sharply. He gently placed Oliver in my arms. The weight of him felt so familiar. My body remembered this, remembered him. His tiny fingers wrapped around my thumb, and tears sprang to my eyes. Hi, sweet boy, I whispered. I've missed you so much. Rachel made a disgusted sound. Don't get too attached. This is temporary. Mrs. Steele, Marie warned. Remember the judge's orders about hostile behavior. I ignored them both, focusing on Oliver. Without thinking, I started humming our grandmother's lullaby, the one she used to sing to Rachel and me when we were small. Oliver's eyes fixed on my face. He knew this song. He knew my voice. Stop that, Rachel snapped. You have no right. I have every right, I said quietly, still rocking Oliver. I carried him. I sang to him every night for months. He knows me. He knows nothing. He's a baby. Mrs. Steele, Marie intervened, please lower your voice. I continued humming, watching Oliver's eyes grow heavy. He felt perfect in my arms, just like he had during those 9 months when it was just us. You're trying to steal him, Rachel's voice cracked. You've always been jealous of everything I have. No, Rachel, I just want to be his aunt, his birth mother, the person who loved him enough to carry him for you. I looked up at her. Before you decided I was disposable, Julio stepped forward. Maybe we should take a break. No, Rachel grabbed his arm. We're not leaving her alone with him. I'm right here, Marie reminded her, and Miss Jordan has every legal right to this visitation. Oliver made a small sound in his sleep, his tiny hand still gripping my thumb. I kissed his forehead, breathing in that perfect baby smell. Remember when we were little? I asked Rachel. When we played with our dolls and promised we'd raise our kids together? Stop it, she whispered. What happened to us, Rachel? When did you start seeing me as competition instead of family? She turned away, but not before I saw tears in her eyes. Real ones this time, not the performance tears she used for social media. Time's almost up, Marie announced gently. I stood carefully, not wanting to wake Oliver. Julio came to take him, but paused. He looks peaceful with you, he said softly. Rachel's head snapped around. Julio! It's true, Rachel. Look at him. She did look finally. I saw something flicker across her face. Recognition, maybe, or remembrance of who we used to be to each other. Next visit is Thursday, Marie said, as Julio took Oliver. Same time. Rachel grabbed her designer bag. This isn't over. No, I agreed. It's just beginning. After they left, I sat alone in the visitation room, my arms feeling empty. Ava was waiting outside. How was it? She asked, hugging me. Perfect and horrible. I wiped my eyes. I got to hold him, Ava. He remembered me. Of course he did. She squeezed my hand. You're his first mother. My phone buzzed. A text from Seth. Rachel's lawyer called again. They want to discuss joint visitation rights. No supervision required. What do you think? I asked Ava, showing her the message. I think you need to be careful, she said. Rachel's desperate. This could be a trap. Another text came through, this one from Julio. Can we talk? Alone? It's about Rachel. Don't do it, Ava warned. Not without Seth present. But I was already typing back. When? Because I'd seen something today. A crack in Rachel's armor. A glimpse of the sister I used to know. And maybe, just maybe, there was a way to win this war without destroying everything in the process. Tomorrow, Julio replied, there's something you need to know about Rachel. Something that changes everything. I showed Ava the message. She shook her head. This feels wrong. But I was already thinking about Oliver's peaceful face as I sang our grandmother's lullaby, about Rachel's real tears, about the possibility of healing instead of just revenge. I have to try, I told Ava, for Oliver's sake, and for the sake of two little girls who once promised to raise their children together, before life and jealousy and pain tore them apart. I met Julio at a quiet coffee shop across town. He looked exhausted, his usual polished appearance rumpled, his eyes bloodshot. Rachel doesn't know I'm here, he said, sliding into the booth. She's not well, Hadley. What do you mean? He pulled out his phone, showing me Rachel's recent search history. How to prevent visitation rights, ways to move child overseas, countries without U.S. extradition. My blood ran cold. She's planning to run with Oliver? It gets worse. He scrolled through text messages. She's been contacting people about fake passports. She's liquidating assets. And yesterday, he paused, running a hand through his hair. Yesterday I found her flushing her medication. Medication? What medication? For her bipolar disorder. She's been managing it for years with therapy and meds. It's why... He looked down at his coffee. It's part of why we couldn't conceive naturally. Some of her medications interfered with fertility treatments. The pieces started falling into place. The extreme mood swings. The grandiose social media presence. The intense manipulation followed by cold detachment. Why didn't anyone tell me? I whispered. She made us promise. Said she didn't want you to back out of the surrogacy. He looked ashamed. I should have told you. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Where's my husband? Then another. You're trying to turn him against me too, aren't you? And another. You won't take my baby. You won't take my husband. I'll burn everything down first. I showed Julio the messages. His face paled. She's spiraling, he said. The publicity, the court case, the visitation, it's pushing her over the edge. She's convinced everyone's conspiring against her. We need to call Seth, I started, but Julio grabbed my wrist. No lawyers. Please. She needs help, not more legal pressure. My phone kept buzzing. Rachel was calling now. Don't answer, Julio warned. She can track your location if you do. But I was already hitting accept. Rachel? I knew it, she screamed. You're with him right now, aren't you? Planning to take my family away? Rachel, calm down. We're just talking. Liar. You've always wanted what I have. Always jealous. Always plotting. Her voice turned eerily calm. But you can't have them. I won't let you. Rachel. I'm at your apartment right now, she said softly. Looking at all your little pictures, all your pathetic attempts to document the pregnancy, to steal my memories. My heart stopped. Get out of my home. Make me. Something crashed in the background. Oops! Was that frame important? The one of you and Oliver's ultrasound? Julio was already calling 911. I put the phone on speaker. You know what, sister? Rachel's voice dripped venom. You want to take everything from me? Let's see how you like losing things. More crashing sounds. Glass breaking. Wood splintering. Rachel, stop! You're having an episode. An episode? She laughed maniacally. Is that what Julio told you? Poor crazy Rachel off her meds again? Another crash. Well, guess what? I've never seen more clearly. You're trying to replace me. As a mother, as a wife, as everything. That's not true. You carried my baby. You bonded with my husband. You turned my followers against me. Her voice rose to a shriek. But you can't have them. You can't have any of it. Sirens wailed in the distance. Julio was pale, still on with emergency services. Rachel, the police are coming, I said firmly. Get out of my apartment. Oh, I'm leaving. Her voice turned sing-song. But I'm taking what matters most. Check your email, sister dear. See what happens when you try to steal someone's life. The line went dead. My email pinged with a new message from Rachel. Attached was a video of my apartment, completely destroyed. Every photo, every memory of the pregnancy, everything connected to Oliver was smashed or torn apart. But worse was the final frame. Rachel holding up papers. The original surrogacy contract with the crucial clause. Looking for this? Her voice taunted. Good luck proving anything without it. Julio grabbed my arm as I swayed. We have copies. The judge wanted the original, I whispered, for next week's hearing. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Rachel. You win, Hadley. You get to keep the memories, but I get to keep Oliver. Forever. Try finding us now. Julio was already calling his bank, his voice shaking. Freeze all accounts, now! Emergency situation. But we both knew it was too late. Rachel had planned this. While we thought she was spiraling, she was actually setting her trap. Oh God, I breathed, reality hitting me. She's going to run with him. And suddenly this wasn't about revenge anymore. This wasn't about contracts or visitation rights or family drama. This was about keeping a baby safe from a mother in the midst of a psychological break. And I had helped push her to this point. The emergency hearing was called within hours. Judge Gibson looked grim as he reviewed the police reports, the threatening texts, and the video of my destroyed apartment. Where is Mrs. Steele now? He asked. We can't locate her or the baby, Seth replied. Her credit cards were used at the airport 3 hours ago, but she had multiple tickets booked to different locations. Julio sat beside me, his face ashen. She's not answering my calls. She thinks I betrayed her. Your Honor, Rachel's lawyer stood. My client has been under extreme emotional duress. Your client is in contempt of court and has abducted an infant, Judge Gibson snapped. Are you in contact with her? No, Your Honor. She fired me via text an hour ago. The courtroom doors burst open. My mother rushed in, clutching her phone. She called me, Mom said breathlessly. Rachel called me. Everyone turned. The judge leaned forward. When? 10 minutes ago. She's not making sense. Talking about how we all conspired against her, how Hadley's trying to steal her life. Mom's voice broke. She said she's taking Oliver somewhere safe, where none of us can corrupt him. Did she say where? Julio demanded. No, but... Mom pulled out her phone. I recorded it. I knew something was wrong. The courtroom fell silent as Rachel's voice filled the room, high-pitched and frantic. He's mine, Mom, mine. They all want to take him. Hadley's poisoning everyone against me. She was supposed to be just a vessel, but she's trying to replace me. Well, she can't have him. No one can. I'll raise him somewhere pure, somewhere safe from all of you. Judge Gibson's gavel cracked. I'm issuing an emergency custody order. Mr. Steele will have temporary full custody once the child is located. Miss Jordan will have secondary rights as biological mother. Mrs. Steele is to have no unsupervised contact until a full psychological evaluation. Your Honor, I stood. She needs help, not punishment. She's sick. I agree, the judge said softly. But right now, our priority is the safe return of that baby. Suddenly, Ava burst into the courtroom, waving her phone. I found her! Rachel's live on Instagram. The court clerk quickly pulled up the feed on the main screen. Rachel appeared, looking wild-eyed, Oliver crying in her arms. You all think I'm crazy, she was saying, but I see the truth. My sister, my husband, my own mother, all conspiring to take my baby. Well, here's what happens when you try to steal someone's life. The camera panned to show she was on a boat. Dark water churned behind her. Oh, God, Julio whispered. Rachel, I called out, though I knew she couldn't hear me. Please don't do this. I'm going somewhere none of you can follow, Rachel continued. Somewhere pure. Just me and my son. My real family. Oliver's cries grew louder. The boat rocked. Mrs. Steele, Judge Gibson spoke sharply into the court's emergency response system. This is Judge Gibson. You are in violation of multiple court orders. Tell us your location immediately. Rachel laughed. A judge? You brought a judge to our family reunion? She pulled Oliver closer, too tight. He screamed, No one can judge me. I'm protecting my son. I'm saving him from all of you. Coast Guard units deployed, someone announced. Signal traced to Marina District. Rachel, listen to me, I pleaded to the screen. This isn't you. This is the disease. Remember who you are. Remember who we were. Sisters, best friends. Please, let us help you. Something flickered in her eyes. For a moment, my sister, my real sister, seemed to surface. Hadley, she whispered, I don't feel right. I know, I said softly, and that's okay. Just come back. We'll face this together. Oliver's cries pierced the moment. Rachel's eyes hardened again. No, you're trying to trick me. Like you tricked me with the contract, like you're all trying to trick me now. She stood unsteadily, the boat rocking dangerously. Stay away from us. Coast Guard units 2 minutes out, someone called. Rachel, Julio tried. Think about Oliver. Please. I'm thinking about Oliver, she screamed. I'm saving him. The boat lurched. Rachel stumbled. Oliver slipped in her arms. Everyone in the courtroom gasped. Got her location, someone shouted. Marina Pier 7. But I was already running, Julio right behind me. Because I knew that pier. I knew those waters. And I knew my sister was about to do something that could never be undone. Please, I prayed as we raced through the streets. Please let us get there in time. Behind us, the Instagram feed continued to broadcast, showing my sister's descent into chaos and an innocent baby caught in the middle of a storm none of us saw coming. The marina air hit me like a wall of ice as I sprinted down Pier 7. Coast Guard lights strobed across the water, illuminating Rachel's small boat rocking violently in their wake. "Stay back!" Rachel screamed, clutching Oliver. "All of you!" "Rachel!" I called out, inching forward. "Give me the baby." "So you can steal him?" She backed toward the boat's edge. "Never!" Oliver's cries echoed across the water. The Coast Guard was closing in from both sides. "Remember when we were 10? I said, taking another careful step. "When I fell into Dad's pool? You jumped in to save me, even though you were scared of water." Rachel blinked rapidly. I remember. You're my big sister. You've always protected me." Another step. "Let me protect you now." "No!" She shook her head violently. "You're manipulating me, like always." The boat rocked harder. Oliver screamed louder. "Mrs. Steele," a Coast Guard officer called. "Put the baby down." "Rachel," Julio's voice came from behind me. "Please, look at our son. Really look at him." She did. For a moment, clarity seemed to break through. He's crying because he needs his mom," I said softly. "His real mom, the Rachel I know, the sister I love." Her legs buckled. I lunged forward, catching Oliver as Rachel collapsed. Coast Guard officers swarmed the boat, securing her as she sobbed. "I'm sorry," she wept. "I'm so sorry. What's happening to me?" I held Oliver close, his tiny heart hammering against mine as Julio wrapped his arms around us both. "It's okay," I whispered. "We're going to get through this. All of us." The hospital waiting room was quiet, except for Oliver's soft cooing. He was safe in Julio's arms while we waited for news about Rachel. "Bipolar I with postpartum psychosis," the doctor explained when she finally emerged. "The medication withdrawal triggered a severe manic episode. She'll need intensive treatment, but with proper care and support, many patients recover well." "Can we see her?" I asked. The doctor nodded. "She's asking for you both." Rachel lay in the hospital bed, looking small and fragile. Gone was the perfectly curated social media queen. Here was just my sister, broken but finally real. "I ruined everything," she whispered. "No," I sat beside her. "You're sick, but you're getting help now." "How can you even look at me? After what I did to you? To Oliver?" "Because you're my sister, and he needs his mother." I took her hand. "The real you." Tears slid down her face. I was so scared of losing him, of losing everything. And I almost... She choked on a sob. "But you didn't," Julio said firmly. "We're all still here." A nurse brought Oliver in. Rachel tensed, but I guided her arms into the right position. "Hello, my baby," she whispered. "Mommy's so sorry." Oliver grabbed her finger, and for the first time, I saw my sister smile. Really smile, not the practiced Instagram version. "The judge amended the custody order," I told her. "Once you're stable and following treatment, you'll have supervised visits. We'll work up from there." "We?" she asked. "All of us. Together." I squeezed her hand. "No more vessels, no more contracts, just family." She looked down at Oliver, then back at me. "I don't deserve this chance." "Maybe not," I said honestly. "But Oliver deserves to have his whole family, healthy and whole." "And that includes you," Julio added. "The real you." Rachel's eyes filled with tears again, but different ones this time. Healing ones. "Will you help me?" she asked softly. "Both of you?" "I can't do this alone." "You're not alone," I promised. "Not anymore." Oliver made a small sound, and we all looked down at him, this tiny being who had brought out both the worst and best in us all. "Sing to him," Rachel whispered. "Grandmother's lullaby. Please?" So I did, my voice joining with Rachel's halfway through, shaky but growing stronger. "Just like us." Outside the hospital room, I heard my mother crying quietly, heard Ava and Seth talking with the doctors about treatment plans and support systems, but in that room, It was just us, a sister who lost her way and found it again, a baby who brought us to the brink and back, and me, learning that sometimes the greatest revenge isn't about winning or losing. Sometimes it's about being strong enough to help put someone back together, even after they've tried to break you. We're going to be okay, I said, and for the first time since this all began, I actually believed it. Because sometimes the happy ending isn't about getting everything you wanted. Sometimes it's about finding something better, something real, in the wreckage of what you thought you needed. And as I watched my sister hold her son, singing our grandmother's lullaby, I knew we had found exactly that.